this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill no one.
Wait a second.
No. We
return to our planet. The High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies. We like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings, you're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin, this is Kotobuki Jake, and we're here to show you what we got.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
Alright, we got a lot here to go. I'm gonna drag Kotobuki Jake over this way. And there we go. And now you can show us what your first guts.
So, my first thing, we'll start off kind of light. Start off simple. I did a small Amazon purchase about a week or so ago. And it was sent to me in it was basically in 3 distinct parts. And it was sent to me in 3 distinct parts. Unfortunately, and one of them, I think I already presented. This one, unfortunately, I have such a bad track record lately of stuff getting sent to me with damaged cases. It's so annoying. And this one doesn't really close properly because of it. But there was a movie that came out, it was 3 years ago? I don't remember exactly. That I had talked about, I think on this channel at some length, as a very intriguing off-kilter film that most people had never heard of and should have because it was great. And that was a film written and directed by, and starring Zoe Lister-Jones called Band-Aid. And this is a very simple little film. It features Adam Pally and Lister-Jones as a young married couple who are facing doldrums. And they are advised to maybe use music to help. They're very musically inclined. And their weird neighbor, who's played by Fred Armisen, gets drawn into the... they basically form a band that basically, the whole point of the band is personal therapy, really. And it's a pretty intriguing little film. Really nice little... underrated little gem, I think, was a pretty awesome soundtrack, and I'm happy to have it.
All right. Well, I got a little bit of everything on mine, and I'm going to try and run quicker than I normally do, just because we're way behind on filming time.
Yep.
We're still hoping to finish by 8:30. So many of you have already seen this little guy who came with the Camp Blood box set. On here was the latest Camp Blood film in 4K. Matter of fact, it's got a little Sterling Entertainment on the back. You see, you pop his head off, and you've got yourself a little disc that you can stick in your computer. Headless little clown. So Axe Grinder also did have a version of that for their box set. And finally, it got delayed because of reasons. That we don't need to be talking about on here. But finally they got it made, and they had it shipped out. And this was a bit bigger because it has both Axe Grinder 1 and 2 on 4K. As you can see, this is a pretty cool little clown there. And of course, the Axe Grinder collection with Sterling. And of course, this time the USB is in the heads. But I do like that. It's kind of like a two-headed clown thing. It's pretty cool. I think it's a neat little... Oh, wait.
Yeah.
There we go. A neat little thing. So,
for kids.
For kids, yes, indeed. But now I've got the little set, and when I do take my picture finally for it, I'll have both of these together.
Now, one thing that has been kind of an interesting running phenomenon of sorts is that Funimation has made a lot of their stuff available at low prices. They were running a sale on their own site for a while, and they ran some stuff really cheaply on Right Stuff, and now they're doing stuff on Amazon. And this one clued me into that sale because he saw one thing. He's like, this got to be a misprint, right? So, of course, I had to look and see, and that's how I ended up ordering. Last week, I presented Yorikuma Arashi, and there were a couple of others. This was part of that sale, too. I bought this series for $15, which is pretty darn good, considering that it's a 12-episode, highly acclaimed series that I've been wanting that doesn't usually go nearly that cheap. And that's a series called The Rolling Girls.
Ah, yes.
And I have been wanting to see this for a while. I've heard a lot about it. And again, for $15, I could not pass that up. So very, very excited.
Very cool stuff there.
Probably won't watch it forever, but, you know.
So when I say priority, I mean priority. Like, as soon as I get the money together, I will go for it. And this was the case with City Hunter Shinjuku Private Eyes.
Nice.
Which is the only Blu-ray I've got of the series. But this is a new movie. This was released in 2019. And it's kind of cool that we get to go back into Ryu's wheelhouse again. I would like to see a new series that kind of it also has I think the what was it, the Cat's Eye or whatever it is.
Cat's Eye does show up, yeah.
It has them in there as well, which is going to be a cool cameo. I need to watch my copy of that.
I need to continue my copy of that.
I'm just curious about this, and I will be watching this. I do hope that one day they go ahead and release a series that just caps the series, because I've read the end of the manga, and it ends in a wedding, and that's kind of a way I hope that they do end this series. I mean, shoot, it's a series that introduced the Megaton Hammer, which you can see over here. So, yeah, pretty cool.
Nice. So, my next one is a series that, frankly, I don't really know a great deal about, but it's one of those ones that caught my attention and stayed on my attention and on my radar. And as I have said before, while I do not think Funimation really puts a lot of effort into their collector's sets, they still look cool on the shelf. And I'd still like to get them when I can get them for a really good price. And $15 for a brand new one constitutes a really good price in my book.
Oh.
So I picked up one called Defrag.
Very cool.
Like I said, you know, complete edition there, the whole thing. So, you know, like I said, it was about $15. So one could do a lot worse.
Well, I don't have much to say about this one. I've had two that we're doing this week for Inside Movies Galore, which has already posted. So we're going to go over the pre-show first, actually, which is Noah. I finally got to watch my copy. I've had it for a while, but it was used, and I decided, okay, now that we've gotten this set, because I've had this for over a month now, but now that it was set, it's like, I'm not going to watch it now. I'll just wait until we get closer. Which, this is a Russell Crowe film, which is also an Aronofsky film, which is probably one of the most populist Aronofsky films I've seen. This is like downright almost an action film. And it's just, it just doesn't feel like Aronofsky. There are parts that feel like Aronofsky. And if you want to hear more, join us on our discussion and listen to it, because we will be talking about it as the pre-show. I think this is actually going to be on Delusions of Grandeur, which still, as far as things go, fairly good. I enjoyed it overall, but definitely doesn't quite feel Aronofsky.
From what I understand, a lot of people complain that Aronofsky was probably experiencing delusions of grandeur tackling that particular story, but I don't know. I'm curious. I have not seen it myself. I'll be watching it after we're done with our vlogcast tonight, which probably means I'm going to be dog tired tomorrow, but you know, they didn't have much choice in the matter, so whatever. Anyway, so next up is the other Funimation limited set that I got for $15. There actually were a few others listed, and I'm still tempted to go back and see. But this is actually one that I have wanted for a while. This is a good example of where patience can be a virtue. I have put off so many times getting the save edition of this one. It's now out on an Essentials release. But I kept going, no, I want the limited edition set. Dang it. And it's a show that we actually previewed. We watched the first episode, and I found it highly amusing. And that is a show called Bento, which basically is about people who fight, who engage in very, 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 very violent altercations in order to be the one to get the prized bento box from the local convenience store.
A lot better than my save edition.
What's that?
A lot better than my save edition.
Yes. This is a nice looking set. Like I said, I really wanted to get the nice set. I didn't want that one with the garish green stripe. And in the end, I am more than willing to have paid $15 to do that. You know?
You know you love the garish green stripe.
Yeah.
All right, so I got this. I mean, my birthday's coming up, so I'm a little bit looser with my money than I normally am. And I actually got a few games, but I'm only going to show one this time. And this is Daymare 1998. I found a rare physical copy. There are not a lot of these floating out here. And this has an interesting history. Apparently, these people, these are independent game makers, they had been spending a lot of time because they wanted to do an updated graphics Resident Evil 2. And then Capcom decided, we're doing an updated graphics Resident Evil 2. Cease and desist. They said, well, we got all these assets and stuff. Why don't we use them? So they created their own survival horror in that vein, called Daymare 1998. It got decent reviews on computer. I tried playing it last night a little bit upstairs, but it's on a smaller TV, and they use ultra small print. I'm talking like 8-point font on their stuff. So I'm going to have to play this on the bigger TV to get a better because a lot of the instructions are in that little itty-bitty font that I can't read. So I will... You know, it's only meant for apparently young eyes or people who are like this on their computer. But still looks interesting. I enjoyed what little I played of it, so I'll be curious to check it out.
All right. So.
Go for it.
Is it my go? Is it my go? Okay. I got a very interesting mini theme for my final one, but it may not be all that thematic depending on the results of our voting, which incidentally, I believe the polls are up for Superhero Summer.
They are.
So anyone who is interested in contributing to our voting for, we are going to cover superhero films on Movies Galore in July.
Yeah.
And so definitely feel free to get on there and vote. One of the films that I submitted is one that I did not have, and I took this as an excuse to go ahead and get it. And it arrived today, so yay.
If you want to... Oh, sorry, go ahead. I'll cover that in the next. Go ahead.
So I finally completed a series. I should have brought down the rest of it to show everyone, but I didn't. But there's 2 parts of the show, and then there were 2 movies of the superhero series Tiger and Bunny. And the second film is called Tiger and Bunny The Rising. It's got a very shiny cover. Very shiny. And then, you pull it out and you've got this here. And of course, Tiger is this dude. Kotetsu, I think is his actual name. Kotetsu Kaburagi, a.k.a. Wild Tiger. And you got Barnabas Brooks Jr., who he derisively calls Bunny. And they are a very reluctant team in a world where superheroes have corporate sponsors, star in reality TV shows. It's kind of like the premise for the setup for The Incredibles. They didn't actually do this in The Incredibles all that much, although I think they came back to it in the second film. But it's similar in that idea of where superheroing is a business, really. And Kotetsu is a poor business model, if you will, which is why he gets paired with Bunny. And this one pairs them up with Golden Ryan, who's the other guy in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe I've seen this movie. I know I've seen the first movie. The first movie largely retells the series before finishing off with a second act that's original. This is apparently an original story. The series is great. It has a few things that bug me, but mostly it is a great series and a lot of fun, really well animated,
Yes.
very well worth watching, and I kind of hope we get to cover it.
So I'm hoping that the list will be up. Right now, I'm waiting to be re-entered into Delusions of Grandeur because I can post a poll there. But there are some areas, because Facebook only allows you to do a poll of 2 options in many of their spots. So I have to find the spots that allow me more than that. So, keep that in mind as we go forward, but hopefully we'll be able to have that up under that set eventually. So the second one, the main film for Tuesday, is Encino Man, which Brendan Fraser, Pauly Shore, and Sean Astin. They're not that young, actually, because these 2 are 24 when this is going on. Sean Astin is 21, so still young, but not like being teenagers. They're teenagers who dig up a caveman in their backyard. It's a film of its time. And it's still fun, though. It's actually an entertaining film to watch. I was kind of dreading going back to this, but no, it was actually quite fun. I really enjoyed it. So we'll be so if you want more, check out Inside Movies Galore. All right.
I hope I'll get to join that one. All right. Now, unfortunately, I did make a little bit of an effort to get Encino Man, but it was not a strong effort, and it failed. I hate to say it. Yeah, I know. And then with Noah, I really should have checked last week if I could get it from the library. I like watching them just before, but not just before. But anyway, next week I'll have no problem because I already own a copy that needs to be watched of Across the Universe. And my final item is the pre-show for next week. Give my regards to Broad Street.
Found a copy, huh?
That was not $5. I don't know where you were looking.
Everywhere.
But it was definitely, this was definitely one of the, I had an opportunity that came up that was different from the last time we talked about this one. I ended up getting for 30. Because there's a rare movie. I don't know what the hell you're thinking.
I don't know what happened. It was like 1 week, 1 week before, like when you asked, the week before I got it for Dave, it was $5 everywhere.
I don't know where you were looking.
It must have gone out of print, like real quick.
Shit. This has been out of print. But anyway, so we have a movie starring Paul McCartney, written, I believe, by Paul McCartney, co-starring Ringo Starr and Linda McCartney, along with Tracy Ullman. So, that's kind of an interesting... obviously, he knows a lot more about the film than I do because he's the one presenting it. But I'm very curious. It seemed like something worth getting, especially if it is rare. It seems worth getting. So, yeah.
Now, like I say, it was pretty common. That what you're holding is a re-release. That is a release they came out with a few years ago, I want to say. Which is 2 years
ago.
But it was like $5 for the longest time. Like I say, even when I got a copy for Dave to rip, it was $5.
And when was that?
Like I said, it was about a week before you were asking about it.
And when was that?
I have to look at my
I can tell you it's been at least 6 weeks out that it has not been cheap. At least 6 weeks.
But it's worth having. I really enjoyed the soundtrack, and you'll hear more on Inside Movies Galore.
It looks like something that would have a good soundtrack.
Which I know they're chomping at the bit to get on that vlogcast, so I'm going to move quick. But I've got a big finish here.
Ooh!
Speaking of a movie that I ordered for Dane's, it got stuck in customs for 2 weeks.
Oh!
But finally, I got, and it's a different version from his, but you can check his channel, which is in the description below. I got the 40th anniversary Elephant Man on 4K, the UK release.
That looks nice.
That's a very nice one, and yes, it is going to be released on Criterion, but I might have to just keep this one. It has some...
That looks nice.
Let's look at this.
Wow.
Isn't that cool? That is actually
very cool.
That is it is, of course, it's based off of a true story. And of course of the Elephant Man, which this guy who was kind of deformed. And it's really good. Anthony Hopkins, John Hurt, and Anne Bancroft. And look at this thing. That is just so awesome. And 4K actually plays on... It's region free. Because they didn't bother to region lock it because, physical media was on its way out at the time. Plus, I do have a region-free player, which allows me to get a hold of, watch some of the extra features. But look at this. You get all these cards that come with it, which are pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
And a collector's book, which is, by the way, in English because it's a UK release.
Very nice.
It is a really cool...
That might even be as impressive as the essay you normally get with a Criterion.
And this one I got for $20, which was good. This is back before they realized that shipping went like 1 billion times up from Europe, thanks to something that shan't be named. But on top of this, we have new photographing the Elephant Man, interview with Frank Connor, new BFI Q&A with Jonathan Sanger, interview with David Lynch, which, by the way, this is, I believe, his first film.
No, Eraserhead came before.
Okay, second film. But
and he had some short films too, but yeah, he was starting. Interview
with John Hurt. The Air is on Fire, interview with David Lynch at Cartier Foundation. Joseph Merrick, The Real Elephant Man, little feature there. Behind the Scenes, Stills Gallery. Mike Figg's interviews, David Lynch, and Terrible Elephant Man Revealed. So we'll have to compare this with the Criterion release to see how that is once we get that.
That's a cool release. Now, I'll admit, mine had a really nice making of documentary on it, but otherwise it had nothing. So yeah, I'm almost guaranteed an upgrade. So,
well, that is it for our run today. So I'm going to be trying to move this forward I hate to rush off, but hit that like, subscribe,
Right.
and share. And we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.
All right.